Alright, so I go elk hunting in a couple days, but I filmed some access stuff. And I'm going to do a bunch of these because this is the most important thing that you have to get right. So I'm going to give you the perfect one first. So if the wind, let's say north is this way, so we usually get a northwest wind. So I'm going to sketch out, I have an area where I found some reprod, some real thick stuff on this side, and then there's some newer reprod here, or older reprod that they actually use. So you want to find the deer's line of travel, and these kind of go something like that. So with a northwest wind heading through this way, and actually what I did in the spring is I went in this bedding area and I mapped all these trails on Onyx, so they actually kind of go like this, and there's one that wraps around the back, but they all seem, a lot of the activity, I got to get on the southeast side of this. I don't want to come in anywhere across where most of the deer travel, and this side actually there's not much deer travel at all. So I prepped a tree right here, and I prepped a tree right there because with a northwest wind I can access from down here, and I'm not crossing any deer trails. Their trail, well actually this would be the edge of it, their trail is, you know, somewhere in there. But I can shoot to that trail, access that tree, and I can back out or get in here in the dark or after. There's basically no deer activity on the south end of this bedding area. It's really thick up here, it's older reprod down here, and they hug that. It's the perfect place because you can get in clean and no deer are crossing your tracks, and you can get out clean as well. They say, this is my idea of it, pretend everything's a white carpet and you got mud on your boots, and if they cross your tracks and that buck smells you've been there, it's kind of game over. So this is a perfect one, and this, I will do a video on this when I go there, but I'm going to leave it alone until I hunt it. Probably going to be in the snow when I do that one. But if you can find something like that where you can get in this way, and then if you do have, I have some stands that are south wind stands, so the only place I can access them is from the north. So I know that, and I have 3 or 4 of those written down in my little log in my notebook, and on a day that I have a south wind and it's a good hunting day, then I go to one of those because I have access from the north. So access is the most important thing. It certainly is. And when you're spring scouting, you'll find good access places. In spring scouting there's no foliage on, so it works out great. But anyway, I'll throw you into the video of the one I just shot, and then I'll sketch that one out, show you how it lays, because this is a perfect one. You can get in and out nothing. These other ones are not. I gotta burn a little bit of area, but they're definitely worth being in, so I'll show you. Alright, so I'm gonna do I'm doing a video on access. So this one is kind of a sticky one. As you can see, I mean, these are just deer trails that all come together. There's about 5 that come together on the edge of some old reprod, in a corner of the reprod, and there's a crazy amount of deer sign. I had a camera here last year and nothing big showed up, but I left it throughout the summer, and when I went back and checked this spring, I was just scouting. In the spring's the best time for sure, but I went back and scouted to see what rutting activity there was, and there was monster rubs all along that line where I had the camera. A lot of times, high deer density areas, there's a lot of does. There's no bucks there in the summer, but October 15th, the big boys show up. So I'm prepping a stand. I'll have to show you. It's a spider web. It's a hub, like all these trails come together in one spot. So to get in there is a little tough. I'll show it on the whiteboard what I decided to do. I've got to cross one trail to get into it, but I'll have scent lock on and rubber boots. I don't think it's 100%. I'm not that good at it, but that'll give me my confidence maybe. But anyway, Yeah, I'll kind of show you how I set this up. Now, a lot of guys, season opens in 3 weeks. They say you got to stay out of there, you kick the bucks out. But like I said, there's no bucks here. I've got a camera here, of course, and a couple little ones, but there's nothing worth shooting. But there's a ton of does and fawns. So you find those places in the summer where the does are feeding. October 15th, it changes. Big boys start showing up without fail. So I'm a little turned around though. I got to take Onyx out. I don't know which way I'm supposed to go here. Alright, so I found it. As you can see, this is kind of a crazy trail system. You know, like 4 years ago I had a really good buck here and I chased him around, but all these trails come together and converge right here, and then this whole side is reprod and north is that way. So everything kind of converges here, but there's a couple trails that go off to the south. So you kind of gotta, I'll show you on the whiteboard, but you gotta pick a way in. And I have to cross a trail. But I think that's all I have to do, and then northwest will blow out, even though I'm gonna do scent lock. If there's any swirling, I want it to go out. When I scouted it this spring, there's a little hump out here where a deer can lay up against the thick and see down. And it was absolutely full of hair. Big bed. It's a buck bed. You know, I don't know if he used it all the time. But then down along this edge in the thick, there was a bunch of big rubs. So he won't be back till October 15th, but I'd say 80% chance he's back. And everything converges right here. And I got a stand set up, so this is a little late to be prepping. But I had to be able to shoot, and I had to figure out the way in that I would mess up. There's like 7 trails converge here, but I have to step across one to get in. And my wind, the other thing is wind bumping. Like anything downwind of you is likely to smell you. The thick is all to the north, the west, and the east of here. So I'm coming in from downwind. This is 90% of the battle. If you can pick a location where you can get in, not wind bump them, get in dead quiet, wait for the right day, cold morning, first frost, whatever, you got a real good chance at these things. I think you can kill them like a doe, but you got to pick the right day, and you can't make any mistakes. So I'll have 4 or 5 of these prepped, and then some other cameras to go off of for running, gunning. Should work. Alright, so I got that one set up, found my access, used Onyx to put a little trail in there, marked it red. I have the deer trails this spring. I walked them and I marked them in blue so I can see how they go through there. So that's another thing that I do is in the spring when I'm spring scouting, I will take Onyx and I will walk all their trails so I know how the bedding areas lay out, so I kind of know where the least minimal force it takes to get in there. That's kind of the idea. So but yeah, that's a good feeling. The next time I go to that spot, I will be hunting. I'll have my bow and my stand and it'll be good. So yeah, that's the point with that access. You gotta get on the southeast side, get into the edge, prep a stand location, something you can shoot and see from. Yeah, it should work well. If there's one big enough to shoot there, he should have a problem. So, and then the wind and thermals, I need at least a 5 mile an hour wind, probably like 7 to 10 is what I prefer. Otherwise the thermals are gonna suck down that hill because I'm sitting, there's enough grade there, I think the wind will carry, but if there's no wind, I can't hunt that place. And I mean, if I scent lock up perfectly, I probably can, but if anything gets out, they're gonna catch me at the bottom. So the thermals are definitely a huge deal, and you'll learn that after you hunt enough because you can't beat them. All right, so a couple days till I go elk hunting. I'm finishing this video, so I'm sharpening broadheads and got yeah, everything I own. We're packing up, but anyway, this is the access to that one. So essentially, this is the walking trail I can come in on. The green represents really thick reprod, and the green up there is really thick reprod too. So the black, these are all deer trails. So what I decided to do on that one is come off the hiking trail here, and then click up to this trail, hop that trail there, try not to touch anything, and then there's a big ridge there, and just sneak on the bottom of that ridge up to the stand I cleared. A northwest wind is going to blow my wind. There's a hump on this side too a little bit. It's going to blow it up this valley. So this trail is going to be burned, basically. But that buck bed was up here. This is all thick bedding stuff. And the pine trees represent the swamp. But there's a crazy amount of trails swinging the edge of this swamp. So that's a premium stand for rutting activity, because the does will be laying up in this thick stuff. There's swamp there, but then that's all reprod. And by reprod I mean it was logged 5 years ago or so. But they will swing this to scent check all this reprod. So you're going to want to be in that stand. But the only, I mapped this in the spring, so I know how the trails line out. And I'd put Onyx maps, but I don't want to show people exactly where I'm at. But yeah, so I got to burn one. So I'm hopping the trail here, so I'm kind of burning this one, and also my scent is going to be going like this. So I really think the way all the rubs were in there around the edge of that swamp, I think they're scent checking does, and that's the key to it. So that's how I did that one. And it's basically an afternoon stand mostly, but when the rut's on, I just go for it. And you'll have, if you have enough stands, you just burn one after the other and see what you do. But to get in the good spots, you're going to have to wreck a little bit of it. If you know exactly how it lays out, that's why the spring scouting's good. Then you can get the least amount of damage. And I think that's what I did there. Now, if he's on the other side and he comes across here and smells me and I never see him, well, I'll never know, except he'll disappear. So, okay, here's another example of access on a tough one. As you can see, they have a crazy deer trail that goes around the edge of this swamp. So that way's north. Food is that way. So I presume bedding is this way. So for an evening sit, I'll swing across here, jump the trail with rubber boots, try not to touch anything, and get up in that tree back there. And then I'll catch the deer coming from the west on that trail. So when that deer makes it down this trail, he gets shot right here. Right where I'm standing is where I'll be able to shoot him. Or my brother, this is actually his spot. Otherwise, when he gets down about as far as you can see, he's going to hit where I crossed the trail. I'll have rubber boots on, and I'll try not to touch anything. But since food's that way, I can hunt this on an evening. Now, when it comes to the rut, and they're running, and you're going to hunt it till midday, if we do find a nice one here, then I will cross right here. So when the deer, I can shoot on each side of this 5-7 yards. So when the deer comes, he won't be able to smell my track and until I have an opportunity to shoot him. So this is a tough one. Usually I like to come in from the other side, but it's impossible. It's just way too thick. We have good access the other way. So if you don't have good access, the thing I'd say is you can do this type of thing if you know which way they're going. But you got to be careful. If I had to come from that way, and my scent would drift through all that bedding, it wouldn't work. I'm coming from this way. They're bedding on that side. So I'll wind bump this whole eastern side, but they're likely not going to be there. So the number one thing is on your access, where your wind is going. If you're going to hit the deer laying there, it doesn't work. So this should work, but we'll see if anything big enough shows here. We got I don't know, maybe 5 of these that are exceptional. So you got to just have everything ready, so when it's go time, and we won't be back to this one till it's go time. Okay, so this is that last spot. So I'm going to go through kind of the timing issue of spots that are a little sticky, and how I deal with that. So essentially, the green is swamp. Let me get on this side so I don't. The green swamps, the black are the trails that the deer are using. I have east access, so there's your there's the compass. I have east axis coming in, so I have to come in this way, and I have a stand cleared right by this swamp. Now that's a great spot. However, the deer come from this way in the morning. So early season, I'm gonna have to hunt this, or it's my brother's spot, so he's gonna have to hunt this early season, just evenings. If there's a big one there, it's worth a shot. But since those deer all work their way out, you're going to wind bump everything on that side. You can't hunt in the morning because you're going to wind bump everything before they come back into these swamps and bed. So early season, go there, hunt it a night or two, and you might kick the buck that's there. But I'm not worried about that for the rut because he'll be back. You give it 3 weeks, I think everything zeros. And then that kind of stand location come the rut, I'm going to get in there 9:30, hour and a half, 2 hours after light, because all the activities between 9 and 1. That's very end of October and the first week of November. So a lot of these spots you find, I have to jump the trail right here. I'll jump it right where I can shoot with rubber boots on, and I'll try not to get made. But that's kind of how that spot works. So you don't have perfect access, but since everything's bedding on this side, I can come in here midday, hunt it, and the deer will come by me on the way out. So it's kind of one of those spots that when you hunt it, you blow it out. So you get to hunt it once early, or just wait till something shows up on a cell cam, or during the rut. Then I'm not too worried about going in there and hunting it. There's a lot of does and fawns. There's going to be deer cruising it. So, but I wouldn't go in there right away in the morning because they are feeding on that other side. So I'd go in there 9:30 and hunt it the rest of the day. That's a sticky one, but it's a grand location, so worth doing. So you're not going to be able to find spots that are perfect. I have a few that are close to that. So you're going to have to burn a little bit, but that's how it works. Alright, so there's one thing I thought of. If you're hunting places other people are hunting, public or private, if people know where you're hunting, they will construct the Taj Mahal of deer stands in the off season right where you are. I learned this by found a great rut spot, hunted it during the rifle season in Minnesota, and the next year when I came back, I think I saw 9 bucks there, like in a week and a half. Just crazy. But when I came back the next year, guys that saw my tracks in there and saw me hunting there, the next year they took a chainsaw and cut a trail right to where I was hunting, and they built a permanent stand. Not legal in Minnesota, but nobody does anything about it here. So don't let people know where you're hunting. So all these spots I'm hunting, public and private, nobody knows where I'm hunting because I hang and hunt all the time. So whether you saddle hunt or you get a hang-on stand and sticks, that's something you have to do if you want to get serious about it, because it'll up your percentages like crazy. The first year I did it, I think I had seen 23 bucks by the opener of rifle here, which is November 7th or 5th that year. Just way more, because the deer don't know where to expect you and you can move around. So this is what I use. I use an XOP Vanish. The nice thing about these, it has adjustment. So if the tree is crooked, you can adjust the platform, and that is a major, that's the pad for it. It comes with a seat pad, and that pad kind of sucks. It's really good the first year, but I bought a different one for it that I'm going to put on it. But and then sticks. These are XOP sticks. Oh, can't see too good there. XOP sticks with Lone Wolf custom gear cabelators on them. So there's just a cable loop on the bottom of them. So with 3 of these sticks, if I stretch them, I can get to 17 feet high with 3 sticks with cabelators. They're a little heavier. There's a whole line of this stuff, and you can spend thousands of dollars on it. I think the Vanish right now is $200 for the stand. They were running a special this summer. There was $350 for the stand, the sticks, the harness, the whole shebang. So watch XOP. They're good. Hawk Helium's good too if you convert them, but they don't have any adjustment for leveling if your tree's crooked. The old Lone Wolves, anything that you can move. I don't think it's very important that the deer don't know where you are and you can keep moving, and based on wind you can hop the trail or whatever, but it's more important that people don't know where you're hunting, because if they do, they get jealous right away and they try to wreck it, or they build a stand there and then you're done. So I made that mistake once and I lost a really good spot. I will not make it again. Anyway, good luck.